Welcome back, everybody, to another day of the show. It is Thursday. My name's Luke Beasley, joined by producer Kayla Cole and Jaden, and we're going to be here for a while. It's going to be a pretty long and expansive show, number one, because there's just a lot of to talk about, and number two, because we did miss yesterday, and so I want to get you some extra content to make up for it, including a Trump rally in Georgia that exhibited his lack of brain functioning power, that exhibited his rage toward Republicans' lack of productivity, and so much more. We'll get into that. You also had someone behind him at the rally impersonating him, which was kind of funny to see. Larry Kudlow, who is the sleepiest man on television, lost it at a Republican senator. And it was so, I've never seen Larry Kudlow like this before, and he was so angry. Now, if you're noticing my arm looks really red, we were sitting out at a restaurant yesterday, and I got sunburnt. So just don't. If it goes up, don't make fun of me. I already called it out, so you can't make fun of it, okay? This is not going to be Dollygate all over again, okay? This can't be something that Luke is a punching bag for. Please. And you have a Republican state legislator being arrested for child sex abuse, disturbing stuff. Why is it that Republicans seem all too focused on any smears of their opponents being pedos, but never seem to look within, never seem to hold their own to that same level of accountability? Michael Cohen is doing Michael Cohen things. And his Michael Cohen things are getting stranger and stranger and stranger. I want to check in with him and so much more. But we don't need a super long intro. Let's just go ahead and jump into our first story. And then if you are clicking because you see the Trump rally, that'll be our second story. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. But I just can't start a show with that, okay? My mental health can't allow it. Let's go. This is Larry Kudlow, who you're seeing on screen. He worked in the Trump administration, if I'm not mistaken. He's a Fox Business host. But most notably, he is always 3 seconds away from falling asleep. I feel like if you put a heart rate monitor, he would have like 3 beats per minute. He's very molassesy, slow moving. His eyes kind of half open. But for the first time, maybe since I've seen Larry Kudlow on television, he was animated. He must have been drinking Pep, drinkpep.com, order it directly to your doorstep, my family business, gut-friendly energy, because he was amped up for a really fun reason. You can see he's interviewing Republican Senator James Lankford and gets so infuriated with Republicans' lack of productivity, lack of legislative solutions, and just lets Lankford have it for multiple minutes straight, which is completely unexpected given what I know about Larry Kudlow. Let's watch. Just watch and enjoy, shall we?
GOP leadership is letting everyone down, whether it's swag, swagger, riz, aura, or how about just plain bad messaging?
Okay, he's going to do something really fun here and rant at this Republican senator. I don't know what on earth that was, though. Before we get to the meat of this, we do have to spend a second on what on earth did he just say? Why is he talking like that?
Is aura, or how about just plain bad messaging?
Swag, swagger, aura. Republicans are missing something. It reminded me of Hannity announcing his interview with Clavicular.
A new episode of my podcast, Hanging Out with Me, Sean Hannity, will drop tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. It features the well-known influencer among kids known as Clavicular. We talked about everything from looks maxing, what's mogging, the rise of male self-improvement, even
what's mogging? All of the top issues of today.
GOP leadership is letting everyone down, whether it's swag, swagger, riz, aura.
No one says swagger anymore. That's not, nobody says that.
Or how about just plain bad messaging? Anyway, the GOP doesn't have it. That's the riff. All right. Now, we welcome back to the show Oklahoma Senator Mr. James Lankford, who was part of the leadership. Mr. Lankford, I'm sorry you had to bear the brunt of that opening, but I'm telling you, right now, You, the leadership in both houses, are bungling everything, sir. I say that with all due respect, and we are personal friends. It's not, but you're bungling everything. Nothing is getting done. Your messaging is non-existent. You've lost your swag, your swagger, your riz, or whatever the young people say. No one knows what the heck you're doing, sir. They have no idea. Yeah.
Love the energy, Larry. Love it. I absolutely love it. What is this need to put in Riz or a swagger? And it reminds me so much of Harris Faulkner whenever she was criticizing Mamdani, and she said, you know, I like to do ratio on X. And I knew that I was going to get a lot of ratio, but I like putting words together, so. And we were like, just... No one needs that, just so you know. I know these networks are like, how do we appeal to younger viewers? I promise that's not the way. It's not the way. Just talk normally, please.
Swagger, your riz, or whatever the young people say. No one knows what the heck you're doing, sir. They have no idea.
Yeah, you're welcome. And this is part of the challenge we've got with all of our media friends out there that continue to be able to beat up on Republicans and say Republicans are all the problem. But apparently the socialist Democrats in New York City, they seem to be perfect because most conservative media right now is beating up on Republicans and just ignoring the socialists who are running rampant all over the country. So I look back on what happened with the One Big Beautiful Bill. Look at the housing bill we just passed. There's a lot of things that are going on that are good, and I understand.
Nobody has attacked Mamdani more than I.
That no one has attacked my mommy more than me. Nobody has attacked Damami.
Zemdami
more than this guy. No one with his eyes wide open is able to recognize the threat of Zamami more than this guy right here. Okay, but that answer, James, was not very swag of you. Let me just tell you for a second. I think you're going to get a lot of ratio tonight when this clip is posted.
Going on that are good, and I understand.
Nobody has attacked Mamdani more than I have, for heaven's sake. I
wasn't saying that just about you. I was saying
that isn't the point.
This is the challenge that we're up against
right
now.
What is it that your policy is? Senator Langford, my friend, what is your policy? Where are the tax cuts? Where are the spending cuts? Where's the waste, fraud, and corruption reduction? Where is all of that? Where is the reconciliation bill? Where's the straight talk and messaging for the midterms? Where's the growth messaging? Where's the we're going to make it better for taxpayers and working folks messaging? Come on, Senator.
Glad to be able to take it on, Larry. Glad, and again, you and I are friends. We've talked through all this stuff before. So let's just start with last year and what's coming out right now on all the tax policy.
So he's about to give you the pitch, right? First off, he tries the most silly whataboutism I've almost ever seen, which is, oh yeah, so you're asking me what Republicans are doing to improve your life. Well, interesting you're talking about that and not Big Mommy up in New York City. How do these people attack Mamdani every day but still don't know how to pronounce his name? What do they call it, Mamami or something? So you're telling me that because we have the House and the Senate and the White House, that we should be doing stuff, but then Big Daddy Mommy's up in New York City, and you don't seem to have a problem with him. Interesting, Larry. What? How does that have anything to do with what you guys are doing, given that, you have the entire federal government, you have a conservative Supreme Court, the president's in the White House, there's a Republican majority in the House and a Republican majority in the Senate? I think the question should be about what you're doing when we're talking about national politics. Is Mamdani's New York also a discussion? Sure, but you want that to be the only discussion, often with distortions embedded in it, because you have all of the power. It doesn't work. The fear-mongering about socialism taking over doesn't work when you are the government. You have all of the government federally. So yes, it's kind of up to you to do good things federally. But here's the pitch from Langford after all that was said about Larry. Good for you, Larry. Even though what Larry wants, like his wet dream of Republican policy, is just eliminating taxes for anyone who makes more than $2 million a year. So he probably doesn't want the correct policies, but at least he's upset that Republicans don't seem to be doing much to help anybody. And Langford's pitch is this.
And what's coming out right now on all the tax policy. Obviously, tax rates didn't go up. We dealt with permanent expensing for all of our businesses in trying to be able to make sure they're growing. They're growing. The reason we're actually dealing with growth right now, you are an expert on this, you know it full well, is because the changes we made in last year's tax bill. We'd love to do a lot more on that, and we will be able to do a lot more on that, but we're still getting all of those things implemented right now. The housing bill that we just passed starts a whole different process of taking the federal regulations, trying to make housing cheaper for everybody. Right now, all of the different pieces on fraud are being implemented on SNAP, on the food stamp fraud that's been happening around the country. That's being implemented right now. That is billions of dollars in savings.
Larry's back asleep. He used all of his annual supply of calories to say that rant, and now he's like, oh, this is boring.
It's also putting work requirements on individuals and taking away the rights of people that are illegally present in the United States to be able to get these extra benefits. All those are things that are happening right now because Republicans actually put those in place. So there's a lot of things that are going on.
I don't exactly, Larry. None of us do. What you were about to say, none of us do. Right. Because what? You hear a Democrat, however much you think they are actually going to do this or not, talking about what their vision is, and it's like fun stuff. Oh, healthcare, yay! Taking on the oligarchy, woo! Let's tax Elon Musk more, yes! Let's invest more in schools, woo! And you kind of get a little bit of this, ooh, I'm feeling something good, that's fun. Langford's pitch was, permanent expense. Permanent expensing for businesses. We're reining it. We're gonna limit who can have SNAP benefits and Medicaid work requirements. Find me one person who's sitting around like, I need more Medicaid work requirements. That's really what my kitchen table concern is those folks on Medicaid who aren't working at all. Almost nobody, maybe nobody, has that as their top issue. Do we want to prevent fraud? Yes. Are the changes they've made to those programs actually in the interest of reducing fraud? No. They're much more about just kicking off people who are qualified for the programs from getting the benefits. That's just the effect of it. That's just the effect of it. It's true. And I don't really care about your words. I care about the effect of your policies. That's the effect of it. And so talk about mommy all you want. It's not going to get you out of your policy failures. And the fact that was the least exhilarating policy achievement list I've ever heard in my life. You remember Biden's would be like, oh, it wasn't even the most exciting either, but it was, largest infrastructure investment ever. And you go, okay, yeah, I drive around sometimes, kind of want those roads to be better. All right, that gets me a little tingly. All right. Lower prescription drug costs. Oh, okay. Are you going to be able to reduce it by 600, 700, 1,200, 1,300% like Trump? No, but hopefully you reduce it. We're expanding benefits for veterans. Yeah, awesome. I zoned out. I didn't remember what he said already. The only thing that stuck was they're adding more work requirements, which again isn't really very thrilling to almost anybody. And then one other moment from Fox News.
You look at our polls and you look at the condition of the economy, and this is the one for midterms we look at closely, and that is excellent or good, 24%, only fair or poor, 76%. And that has got to have Republicans, Senate and House, concerned.
Oh, absolutely, Brett. And the truth is there's not much good news for Republicans in this whole poll we did. Underwater on the economy, as you showed, underwater on affordability. Those two issues are front and center for sure. Republicans have a little bit of a lead on national security and, I guess, law enforcement, but everywhere you look, Republicans are down. Now, there is a bit of good news. As you mentioned, the redistricting will help them with seats in the House, and they will probably need every one of them they can get from that.
You look at our polls.
Yeah, not much good news, except for that they may have drawn lines dishonestly enough to gain themselves more seats. Oh my God. That guy's like Mitch McConnell 20 years ago. Who's that guy again? Britt Hume. I think it's Brett. What's this guy's name? Brett and Britt, I think. No, not Britt. Whatever. Who cares? Fox guy. not want to good news for Republicans. Except for they may have drawn the lines dishonestly. Well, that tells you a lot. Does it not? Before we get to our Trump rally segment, that's going to be quite the ride. So buckle up, take a sip of pep, get ready. It's going to be a long journey. I have way too many clips than legally I should be allowed to play on this show. But I do need to check on the audience. Germs Rosalina said, Farmer's Tan Luke must be working from 9 to 5. Josh Johnston Music clarifies what that reference is about, saying, hey, Luke, that song you clearly didn't know is Jolene by Dolly Parton. Kayla, we had this thing on Wednesday where I was doing a thing about Darlene Graham, and I was going, Darlene, 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 and then went, oh, who's that by? Who? Same person as that 9 to 5 song. Just for a brief moment, I forgot Dolly Parton's name. I found it, and then ever since, people have been pounding me every day till Sunday.
I'm just glad we have a new community meme to replace the cock.
Yes, and we are launching new merchandise based off of that, which looks like... Here is our new... wait. Here is our new Luke Beasley Show t-shirt. You can see here. I'm kidding. That's not actually ours. We would get sued a lot if we sold Dolly Parton merch. Jim Flagg said, we don't want those poor people getting health care benefits. We want that money for the ballroom. And for some reason, Jim put a space in between ball and room, which depicts a different image in my head, but I appreciate it. Before we get into this Trump rally segment, I do want to say we finally checked the P.O. box. Please, I hope the people who sent stuff are watching right now because I want to thank them. I read all of these this morning. Michelle, I don't want to give full names because this was privately delivered, but I can give first names. Edison, a younger viewer of the show, which the age of this viewer made me feel weird about some of the less than appropriate jokes we make on the show. But Edison talked about his passion for politics and how people his age aren't as engaged, and he feels a little bit like a unicorn or a very unique person. And I'm with you. That's exactly how I was when I was your age. I was looking around and none of my friends wanted to talk about it with me. But it paid off, okay? Because now we have this most amazing pursuit. So I'd encourage you to keep on keeping on, Edison, and I really appreciated your letter. We also got Jared. Jared, we got it. I talked about how Michael got stuck without a charged phone at an airport in the middle of the night and then had to go home with a very spooky figure who ripped him off and I would say stole a lot of his money. Not like at gunpoint, but just pressured him into paying way more for the drive. You know how sometimes people will wait around and then there's no more taxis or something, or someone's phone is dead, and so then they'll be like, yeah, I'm your only option. Anyway, so Jared sent a power bank for Michael, which is so sweet. You have another letter here from Dusty that I appreciated. You have this from Bilbo, who sent a movie. We have a movie DVD. Look at this. Look at this. And so many different things. So thank you to everyone who sent something to the P.O. Box. The address is there if you want to send it, but you all are very, very, very sweet. Let's now get into this.
So I just want you to remember that if you're paying a little bit more, a lot of it's come down now. We got it coming down very rapidly, actually. Look at the number just released. But it really would, we inherited something from Biden and we're giving it back to you, thousands and thousands of dollars each family. We gave it to you also. Remember, forgetting about prices, and I don't want to forget about it. I would never leave a sentence like that because they'll say, he said forget about prices. I said, despite anything you see, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
So, before we dive more into the too many clips that I have from this rally in Georgia, and we'll really do a forensic analysis of it, Kayla, what did he just say there? I want you to... What was the message that he just articulated?
I was reading chat.
Well, you have as good of an understanding of it as me, and I was listening because it made absolutely no sense whatsoever. You thought I was just like calling you out. You weren't listening to the president.
I was scrolling back looking for super chats I thought I missed.
Guys, quote, I just want you to remember that if you're paying a little bit more, a lot of it's come down now. We got it coming down very rapidly, actually. Look at the number just released, but it really we inherited something from Biden and we're giving it back to you. Thousands and thousands of dollars each family. We gave it to you. Also remember, forgetting about prices, and I don't want to forget about it, and I would never leave a sentence like that because they'll say he said he forgot about prices.
Okay, so I did hear it correctly. I thought I wasn't paying attention well because I was reading chat, but no, I fully heard what was said. Because what I was going to say was, I think he said something about gas prices, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay.
Who knows what he's... And again, Kayla and I were talking about this the other day. We are used to Trump's speaking style, so we translate it into normal English. But if you read transcripts, it really emphasizes how incoherent what he's saying is. He literally stumbles into going and forget about prices as if he's giving himself a command or like on his teleprompter. And then he goes, but I'm not going to say forget about price because then you fake news would say I forget about price. You just said it. It's not fake news. You just randomly started going and forget about prices because we inherited from Biden and we're giving it back to you. You're giving what from you? Biden gave you what? And you're giving it to us? We're giving you thousands and thousands. No, you're not. You said you were going to give us Doge checks. Never happened. You said you were going to give us tariff checks. Never happened. So that gives you a sense of the state of Trump's mind during this rally. Very concerning. His aesthetic was equally concerning. About to pop. Very bloated. Very wet. And I would say sweaty, but it's more of just a wetness that layers, a sheen, a moistness that covers his bronze body. And he was struggling through this entire speech.
Crack down on Marxist proxy. Oh, these prosecutors are so bad. They're so evil, what they do.
Prosecutors, you know what I'm trying to say. And then more adventures with words. You know how he just figured out that dumb has a B at the end of it? Well, I guess he's right now experimenting with how to pronounce the word phenomenon or the plural phenomena.
I've never heard it before. It's a new phenomena. It's a phenomena.
That though does seem like a joke I would tell. We would be talking about a horse, and I would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a weird horse phenomenon," or "horse phenomena." You know what I mean? So I respect the game on that. on that one. Here's a point he made about 401ks or phenomena. I don't know. I can't think of something. Or 401ks. Hey. Lube up that money, you know.
So your 401ks, they always say, oh, the stock market. Stock market's very important. But I have people coming up to me that have 401ks. They said, you know, I was a disaster. My family wouldn't talk to me. They thought I was a total loser. And now I'm like, the one guy said, I feel like Warren Buffett.
So that doesn't exactly make sense if you actually have kept up with the stock market. If for some reason your 401k was doing terribly at the end of Biden, but then you think it's doing great now, then I don't know what your investment strategy was or what your 401k is doing, because the last couple of years of Biden was very good on that front. Aaron Rupar even said, Trump sounds drugged.
And I saw what was happening. What a disgusting thing took place. But we then, as you know, we won Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil.
He said, what? He said we won Venezuela, which I know he means like we won the one-day war with them when we captured Maduro. But instead of saying we won against or we won the operation, he just says we won, like in a state. No U.S. president has ever won Venezuela by such a large margin. The Venezuelans love me. He also talked about the very critical highway that is described as the Hormuz Strait.
We don't need anything. We don't need the Hormuz Strait, but we do it because we have to do it, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
Okay, the rest of that, actually, the meaning of it was confusing, but he calls it the Hormuz Street. Interesting.
I love Tesla.
Okay. He also started his speech by announcing his candidacy.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's a special place, and I am here to announce my candidacy.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding. Nah, boy, I tell you what a group. We have thousands of people outside.
I'm announcing my candidacy for president of Venezuela. Let me say to my Venezuelan friends, hola. I won Venezuela in 2020. They took it over. They rigged the election, but I won it. He tries, so simultaneously, he doesn't know the word candidacy, and he is joking, quote unquote, or referencing an unconstitutional third term there. Then we get to my favorite part of the speech, because he is in Georgia campaigning, I guess, for Mike Collins, who is the opponent of Jon Ossoff, but Mike Collins is conspicuously not there, and Trump attempts to attack Ossoff. Now, what could you attack Ossoff based on? We just covered a story that many of you very much enjoyed, I've noticed, about how, as reporters dove into the life of Ossoff to find what's the stuff in his private life that we could report on. All they discovered was his on-stage presence, confident presence, is a little bit different than behind the scenes when he's just a meticulous researcher. So figuring out how to attack him is going to be a tough job, and so Trump decided to do it this way.
And he's not respected at all in Washington. You don't even hear his name mentioned. You don't hear his name mentioned. I mean, I hear all the names. I hear all the bad ones and the good ones. I hear them all. But you don't hear his name mentioned. He's not even a factor. But you have a guy that is the most respected, just about one of the most respected people in Mike Collins. And
No, that's not true at all. But, you know, if the only line of attack is I don't ever hear people talking about Ossoff, number one, that's obviously not true. Ossoff's been in the headlines a lot recently. But number two, that does connect to the Puck story that we covered that I just referenced, which is even Republicans don't find themselves attacking Ossoff publicly much because all they see behind the scenes about him is just a guy who seems really dedicated to his job and just works really hard and quietly all the time. That was the bombshell. So that's not really a strong attack line, but maybe going after Ossoff's looks, as Trump attempts to do here, I can't even finish that thought, is a terrible idea, obviously. Really? You're going to go after Ossoff's looks? Well, Cole made this out of Trump's attack line.
You're terrible, Senator Jon Ossoff. He's terrible. He reminds me of Pinky Herman. Did you ever see Pinky Herman?
So yeah, I don't know. It's Pee Wee Herman, but he called him Pinky Herman. By the way, guys, I gotta figure out how to get a strut like this. This belongs on a runway. I mean, watch. Oh. What? The head. I can't even picture what that would. That's what you have to do, I think, is always hear a beat in your head if you want to have a cool strut. Like, even if you're just walking through the Senate hallway, you gotta be walking to a beat. Wow. Yeah, the looks attacks are not gonna work, Donald. And then he brought on stage the Georgia Republican candidate for governor, Rick Jackson. And I guess it's not just Trump who doesn't know what the word affordability means, or as Trump says it, affordability. They came up with a word, affordability, because Rick here, well, you'll see.
I'm going to make sure that Georgia is the best place to do business and reduce affordability to the lowest it's ever been, and I'm going to be this man's favorite governor.
you're going to reduce affordability? Okay, Trump says this too. He's like, they did the affordability. Trump will say, and it's like, no, that sounds like you're saying they made things affordable. And then here, you're going to reduce affordability. Doesn't that sound like you're saying you're going to increase prices? Do they not know what these words even mean? Very strange. And then this was the part where a fan, I guess, or someone at the rally, you can see this guy started impersonating Trump's hand movements.
Oh, the skirmish. This is with this skirmish we have with the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I call it that because, let me tell you, they're getting hit so hard. And they want to make a deal. But I say they're not ready to.
So that's fun. I don't know if he was a fan or he was a detractor making fun of him. Right now there is, I guess, a clash, but Trump doesn't seem to be fighting that hard between Trump. Oh, look what this frame caught. He's rubbing his face and it's moving like wet leather. That's crazy. Wet leather, dry leather, wet leather, dry leather. Stretchy. I didn't know how stretchy it was. So he is articulating here discontent with Republican leadership for not getting the SAVE Act passed.
And I have to say, Mike Johnson and Congress have done a great job, but we're having a hard time in the Senate. The Senate, what they're doing is it's just not right. Congress is going to pass it again. They passed it 3 times. They're going to pass it again. It's like the Senate is a place that you send things when you want them to die. We can't do this, and we're not going to take this any longer. We're not going to take it. You know, I'm trying to be nice, trying to be really nice. You saw we had a big victory last night in Arizona. I've had victories everywhere.
Yeah, Trump announced big victories in Arizona. Did you see this? And he was like, Democrats can't handle that we just won so much. But he was talking about a Republican primary. So a Republican was going to win either way because it was a Republican primary. Trump likes telling this story a lot, which is about calling Emmanuel Macron. And because let me see if I can get this correctly, his prescription drug policy is most favored nation. So it's forcing companies to sell to us drugs at the same cost as the lowest option in foreign countries that those same companies sell. And is this working? No, but I wish that would happen. So then I guess this doesn't make sense to me, but I guess the way he was going to get us to have lower prices was to get France to raise their prices. And so he called Macron in a definitely real phone call. And here's the story.
Get the countries to do it. And I called up France. I started with Emmanuel Macron. I said, Emmanuel, you must raise your drug price. Oh, Donald, why would I do that? Because we're paying too high and you're paying too low. And we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. No, Donald, I will not do that. Yes, you will. No, I won't, Donald. I will not do that, Donald. I said, yes, you will. And then finally he said...
And this course of action, this discussion that you're hearing right here, is a very familiar back and forth for Trump. He's gone through that same no, yes, no, back and forth a lot of times in his life.
No, I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a 200% tariff on every bottle of wine and champagne coming out of France.
Look, oh my gosh, the lady in the background goes, no. I didn't notice that, watch. And the crowd's like, yeah, what are you even clapping about? You don't even know what you're clapping about. The one lady who's actually listening is like, that doesn't sound right.
Coming out of France.
I can't tell if that's bad economic policy, no, or if that's tariffing my champagne, no, not my wine.
And he said, Scott was there, and he said, Donald, it would be my honor to do that. And we got France.
And he won her back. She was clapping at the end. That didn't happen. And Emmanuel Macron doesn't have a high prescription drug prices button. That's not how any of this works. I said Emmanuel. He said, no, Donald. Which you'll notice, I've pointed this out before. When Trump tells or recounts stories, here are some of the people who have the exact same accent in his mind based on how he impersonates them. Trans weightlifters, Oh, no, mommy. Melania Trump, don't do that dance, Donald. Xi Jinping, he said, no, Donald. Emmanuel Macron, he said, this would be my honor. They all, for some reason, have the same accents in Trump's distorted brain. Kayla.
I can't believe that he would threaten tariffs on wine. He's going to lose the entire wine mom contingency, which is about 80% of the people who vote for him.
You cannot lose the wine mom contingency. Neither can we, by the way. Great section of our viewership. We love you dearly.
Also, again, it's like you were saying before about I imagine Freudian slip of saying getting rid of affordability. Why would anyone want to make anyone else pay more and then result in us paying more? It's like the reasoning of being like, well, if you raise it, then I don't have to lower it as much. And as me, a person who supports this man in the audience, I'm going, wait, why don't you want to save me the maximum amount of money, Mr. Donald Trump? What? But what?
The logic, I guess, is you're never going to get companies, or their business model wouldn't work if they lowered the U.S. prices down to France prices or Canada prices. So, as Trump has told the story before, if we're at 20 and they're at 10 and we get them to move it up to 15, then ours will go down to 10 or whatever he said before. Like, he has some equation he thinks he's working, but I don't think it's working, to Kayla's point, than this.
I made the statement once, with communism, everything turns to shit, okay?
Okay.
Jeez.
All right. So, you are, okay. Hey, I'm anti-communism. Got it. We are also literally turning to right now because of your lack of health policy that is coherent. Like, literally people's insides are turning to right now in your America. And people, based on polling, feel like figuratively, literally, the diarrhea epidemic, figuratively, people feel like the country's turning to crap under your governance. So what say you about that? He's clearly setting up insider trading here.
Better than that. But people are loving it. And you know what I say? Go out and buy a Dell computer, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned,
go check his Dell holdings. I'm telling you, that's obviously why he's saying that. Actually, is this a post from Peter Baker? February 10th, Trump portfolio buys between 1 million and 5 million stock in Dell. February 19th, Trump at a rally encourages supporters to buy a Dell computer. May 27th, Pentagon awards $9.7 billion contract to Dell. So he's already done this this shtick before. It's all right out in the open. But this announcement is exciting. If you didn't quite follow the Emmanuel said, no, yes, down, up, 10, 15, 20. Maybe this healthcare announcement will excite you more.
We'll pass the great healthcare plan. It's called our great healthcare plan. That's the name of it, to stop all payments to big and...
Yeah. Apparently he's going to pass a healthcare plan.
2 weeks.
Okay, good. Test tube baby spy said, can you imagine waking up from a 30-year coma and seeing a Trump rally on TV? I'd want to go back in the coma. I've never been in a coma and I want to go into one right now. I'm with you. Intuition Jen said, is Ossoff your hall pass choice, Luke? I think we all have a crush on him from 18 through 80. Yeah, no, I don't do hall passes because people do that usually when it's like, oh, we're in love, but what if a celebrity would want to sleep with you? Then relationally you have a hall pass. But the most beautiful celebrity that I want to be with is Michael.
Michael?
It's Michael. So
Michael?
He would already be the person I would want to have a hall pass for if I were with anybody else. Thank you.
You're going to make such a good politician one day, dude.
But let me say it this way. If China was about to launch nukes, okay, and the Pentagon called me up in his headset and he's drunk and he's sweaty and he says, for some reason, Xi Jinping and Khamenei were talking and Khamenei heard your joke about descending down from a Black Hawk helicopter into his bunker and making love to him until the whole Middle East gets along, and he didn't like it, and he thinks your punishment should be sleeping with John Ossoff. And Xi Jinping is going to launch nukes and give nukes to Iran if you don't sleep with John Ossoff. Then I would do it for my country. But otherwise, the only person I ever want to be with is Michael.
Michael?
LeBron James.
Sure. I hope On Stuff's team is not watching this one. Derek Griffin, member for 2 months, said, love spending my lunch with Luke and the producer crew, except the slight choking hazard that comes from the laughs. Aw. Membership is my favorite bill to pay. That is so sweet. Dominator Cosplay sent a super chat and then said, it looked like the guy beside the Trump impersonator threw up. YT power hand sign. What? Oh, I read that wrong. I thought it was threw up, period, like, bleh. It looked like the guy beside the Trump impersonator threw up the white power hand sign. I see. I did notice that, too, doing the little hand gestures. Maybe so, that would be disturbing. Emulus Rex, member for 15 months, said, new business idea, Beasley After Ever, a dating site for Luke Beasley fans. I feel like people who like your show are the good people. That could be fun. I thought it was going to be a dating site that's just me. like I open up the site and it has all the people who have signed up for it. They open the site and it's just one profile and it's just mine. And and they can just swipe on me over and over. Just different poses in every profile. That would be interesting. We've talked about making a show app that has like everything in one place. Imagine if one of the things you can do on the site is dating. I just get a little afraid about the liability. It takes one murderer. You know what I mean? It takes one. You can have millions of viewers who are all good people, who are all on the site, loving life, enjoying each other's presence, and it takes one murderer for people to say Luke Beasley's dating site leads to a string of serial killings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want that liability. Jim Flagg said Trump has an idea of a plan for health care. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And I'm sure Jim would respond to that question with, no, I cannot imagine, Luke. I always throw a little Russian into it there. That was weird. That's not what Trump does, like a baby voice for everybody.
He does like a Melania impression for all of his impressions.
Right, exactly. It's so funny how he thinks Melania talks. I feel like me impersonating Trump impersonating Melania is okay, but if I just did the thing he does to Melania but without me saying it was him, it would seem offensive.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, let's get into this now. We have a story about a Republican state legislator who has been arrested for some heinous reasons, but I want to back it up for a second and then pull back into the parking spot with some context. Matt Walsh posted intentionally depriving a child, and this was in reference to same-sex couples having surrogates. Intentionally depriving a child of her own mother is one of the most depraved things imaginable. The entire surrogacy industry should be forcibly shut down. It is pure barbarism. To which I responded with this headline: children of same-sex parents see outcomes as good or better than heterosexual couples, something I've argued a lot. I've never been in an argument with a conservative of the many that I've had on this topic and heard them make a compelling argument as to why preventing same-sex couples from being parents is at all good for the kids. And actually, when you advocate for that type of policy or removing marriage protections, it ends up harming the kids who already exist in so many same-sex homes. And the outcomes, the life outcomes, and the well-being of the children is, as you see in this Hill report about a study, clear, unequivocally as good or better than, for some random reasons, on the better than front, than heterosexual couples. So why argue for this? I don't know. You just have like a deeply held belief you can't let go of despite the data contradicting it. But I bring this up to you in relation to our next story because on a certain section of right-wing internet, it's 24/7 nonstop slop trying to convince their viewers that just the very identity of a certain percentage of the country means that they're predators or pedos. And there's been a lot of attempts at that like drag queen performances, if you don't have a problem with those, you're like a creep or a predator, or the drag queen's a creep and a predator. And then the way that they'll justify calling all gay people or something destructive terms like that, and how they try to build a narrative that then justifies their stance of removing marriage protections or not allowing same-sex couples to adopt kids is by cherry-picking stories, because if you have millions of people, some of them will be bad people, of examples when LGBTQ folks have done bad things. And obviously, regardless of their identity, they should be held fully accountable for those things. That's terrible. But the data doesn't back up their idea that a same-sex parent is uniquely dangerous to a kid, right? So then they can't go off of data or studies. They just have to go off specific anecdotes. Hey, this one gay person was a really bad person and abused somebody. And why I bring that up now is because they'll do the same thing to people based on political ideologies. Oh, look, this liberal activist did a bad thing. See, liberals are sick, headlines will read in right-wing Twitter. So then I wonder, why is it that I never hear them talk about, let's say, Epstein, people within their coalition who are actually doing terrible things? Because if they want to play the cherry pick game to mischaracterize, to contradict data about, and to portray as predators just based on their identity, then let me just tell you it'd be very easy to do the same thing based on a party affiliation. I don't, because I know it's more nuanced than that, and individual people are responsible for their actions, not their party. But man, maybe you look within for a second. MAGA Twitter. Things like this. A Republican state legislator has been charged. Here is his face. Again, it's so easy to predict, my gosh. I'm telling you, pay me whatever you pay the entire FBI. Okay? And you know what? Pay me 1% of what you pay the entire FBI. I'll be generous. And just show me photos and I'll be able to tell you if somebody's a predator. I will. Republican state legislator has been charged with enticing a minor after police said he had explicit conversation with a child that began on Roblox. So he's a member of West Virginia's House of Delegates, but then he's also a teacher. So you know how many stories they run about leftist teacher is grooming your kids because they brought up some gender identity issue, right? Hey, here's a Republican teacher who actually did abuse, as I'm about to detail for you. You're holding up your computers or something for me over there?
No, it just started overheating. Yeah.
Fair. So this Elliot Pritt figure was arrested on Wednesday and faces a federal count of enticement of a minor. And it goes even more in depth than that, beyond enticement, actually to sexual activities with an 8th grader. The complaint alleges Pritt, who's 36, started communicating with a student on Roblox while she was in 8th grade, which later transitioned to them talking on Snapchat. The student's family reported that Pritt shared nude images of himself with this child, requested sexually explicit. I bet if you go look at this guy's social media feed, he was always like, Democrats are pedos, Democrats are grooming your kids. You remember Marjorie Greene was saying, the Democratic Party is the party of pedophilia. You remember that? Hello? What say you about this? A teacher, a Republican state legislator. He was sending nudes to this middle schooler, sexually abused the girl on multiple occasions on school grounds, according to the complaint, allegedly. By the end of her 8th grade year, Pritt told a minor female that he loved her. Ugh. The complaints say that Pritt later initiated a physical relationship with the teenager and requested she meet him in his classroom at Oak Hill High School to engage in sexual activity at least 5 to 10 times. And then he got her to swear to secrecy. It would be in the news. It would be awful for both of us. I would lose my entire life, he allegedly said. And this is obviously sexual abuse, and this person needs to be behind bars for a very long time if these allegations are correct. They are. Come on, they are. No, I don't judge a book by its cover. Except this one. Judged it. Know what's in it. Jail. So that's disturbing. And I won't see this anywhere. This is my point. Horrible abuses happen. The reason I'm giving this one a whole segment is because, number one, it's someone with some power. But then also, there's just such rank hypocrisy with these right-wing accounts. And I'm sure the left does this too. Maybe it only publishes about Republicans, but never when something happens with a Democrat or something like that. But I see it most extensively and just disturbingly. It's why whenever I sent out a photo, I've explained this before, of myself and boyfriend Michael. There were some comments that were like, all of you are creeps. All of you are disgusting. And then the normal people in the world go, wait, what? Why are they saying that to a stranger who just sent like a cute photo of them and their partner? It's because in their world, what they're scrolling through, the only examples they ever see of a gay person are these cherry-picked stories to portray an entire group as gross or bad or predatory. And then they never back it up with some actual research about anything, but instead use it to demonize, fearmonger. So then if your real concern is about predators, or especially predators with power, where's the story? Libs of TikTok. Where's the story about this? Yeah. Ugh. And then this does continue our tour through the strange scandals with Republicans lately. We had the Colorado gubernatorial Republican nominee who talked about killing people and talked about his exorcisms, how he can do over-the-phone exorcisms. And then we talked about this Florida Republican who is now facing calls to resign because he was found liable in that case that we discussed of sexually harassing his 2 male staffers. So it's kind of that clean up your house before whatever the rest of the phrase is. I think that there's a desperate attempt to get political advantage by really defaming an entire side, which again, I don't do to the entire Republican Party when a story like this breaks, but man, prominent influencers, media voices, and politicians definitely do it to their Democratic opposition when there's a story. Even if it's like some random liberal in a random place with no power, they'll still make it, see, this is what Democrats love, But God forbid they're LGBTQ, oh my gosh, then that's reason to hate forever a whole group. But they haven't cleaned up their own house, my goodness. You remember this guy? Fullerin, not Fullerin, that's the soccer player. What? Why did he pop into my head? Fabian Basabe.
All right, so you were offended by these accusations. Have you ever been accused of drugging and raping anyone?
I have a sidebar, Your Honor.
So you good?
I want to reject it. I didn't know how.
Okay. Well, sidebar.
You remember him? He lost that case. He did. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that he lost this Republican state rep lost his sexual harassment lawsuit, even though he was defending himself that powerfully? Remember this? Do you?
South Florida State Representative Fabian Basabe taking the stand today in his civil trial.
2 former staffers have accused him of sexual harassment, battery, and defamation. Terrell's in the newsroom with what happened in court. Terrell.
Well, this current state lawmaker has appeared on a number of reality shows in the past. Today, he was front and center, mixed up in his own drama, all tied to a civil case that alleges a string of sexual harassment claims.
You were on reality shows, correct?
Yes, I was.
Republican State Representative Fabian Basabe on the witness stand today in his own civil trial, answering questions about its personal life.
You are married?
Yes.
To a woman?
Yes. He did it. Hey, Fabian, sue me. You did it. You sexually harassed and groped these guys. And you should pay them a lot of money. You creep. You did it. How do I know that? The first word I heard out of your mouth.
Questions about its personal life.
You are married?
Yes.
To a woman?
Yes.
An attorney for the plaintiffs then shows the jury a photo of Basabe kissing a man.
His name is Renato.
And he lives with you, correct?
I don't answer for people's residency.
Is he your boyfriend?
I don't believe in those labels.
Oh, and he's a douchebag. Okay, now we know. Okay, yep, he did it. By the way, this is me in any date context before I met Michael when someone said something like, I don't believe in labels. Hey, nice to meet you. Bye. Bye. Labels are awesome. I love labels. Especially ones that establish the nature and characteristics of a relationship, thus the obligations or lack thereof that you have to the other person you're in a relationship with. I don't do labels. Really? Because you're married to someone and you're cheating on them. Oh, well, I don't believe in that label. Wow. Now, again, it wouldn't be our business if he were cheating. Obviously, it doesn't matter if he's like bisexual or something, except for it establishes more credibility to the argument he would be sexualizing his male staffers, because otherwise he could try to pull the, I'm a straight guy. Why would I even, how could this even have been of a sexual nature? What are you talking about? So that's why that photo was submitted as evidence. And what did he say? Oh, you can take that down. What did he say the guy's name was? He said it with such awe. Such fond memories. Listen to this again.
His name is Renato.
His name is Renato. Who is this man on screen? His name is Renato. And who is he to you? A fellow explorer of the vast unknown of each other's bodies.
And he lives with you, correct?
I don't answer for people's residency.
Is he your boyfriend?
I don't believe in those labels.
The politician is being sued by 2 male former employees who allege sexual harassment, battery, and defamation.
And of course, that was the guy who spanked his male staffer in the middle of an elementary school career day while saying, "I want all of that butt." That is, so I don't know, clean up your little street there, the Hormuz Street, as Trump calls it, and then maybe we'll talk. How about that? Then we can talk. But yes, he is facing, this is the second guy we're talking about, is facing calls to resign after that civil trial found him liable for, I think it was $450,000 or $750. I think it's $450 to the victims. Mary said, "So thrilled Dump finally has a concept of a plan for healthcare. A scam. Love you guys. Love you back." Keywords said, "Happy birthday on Saturday. You share a birthday with my son, who will be 31 this year. That probably makes me too old to be a fan of you, but I am." What? I don't know. We love so much how age diverse our audience is. It's so beautiful. All the way from the letter from a 14-year-old to, I really hope there's no one younger than 14 watching this show, okay? I think those Ossoff references get a little, it's just, if you are, make sure you don't talk about politics how I do. Keep it focused on the substance. Don't get veered off track to strange things. But all the way from 14 to probably, 80, 90? No, actually, I know a viewer who is 93. It's pretty spectacular. We love all of you. Were you going to say something, Kayla?
I was going to burst your bubble and say that the 14-year-old has been a fan for 2 years.
True. They did say 2 years. So 12. Nobody younger than 12 should watch the show. Okay. B. Mazgovia, member for 3 months, said, "It's lame to prevent a child having a loving home, claiming same-sex parents are damaging. Very aboutism about kids now being born into a digital age is 2. Into a digital age is 2. I missed a little bit of, but I totally agree with your general point. Absolutely. It's insane. They just make it up. I've now recently done 2 long-form debates with people on shows. And before that, I did an even longer one on Tim Pool's show with, what's his face? Do you remember the guy who said, "Oh, I'm going to crush Luke today"? Andrew Wilson. With Andrew Wilson about same-sex marriage. And literally none of them, other than their stance being, "I personally don't like gay marriage." That's it. Or my religion says I don't like it. Okay. None of them have been able to show me data that demonstrate anything other than what I've laid out. And that's sad. That's sad for them. Very, very sad. Okay, how do we even get into this one? Everyone take a deep breath. I know for our consistent viewers, sometimes the context that I give is a little bit too much because you've heard it over and over, but I'm just picturing someone clicking on this video who hasn't heard it in the background, and so I want to quickly run you through it. Michael Cohen, the person that you're seeing on screen there, was Trump's fixer or lawyer, but he would go deal with the issues like paying off a porn star that Trump slept with while Trump's wife was on home with a newborn baby, so that it didn't come out during a campaign. And then he went to jail for Trump as they were being investigated for these things, and he came out of jail and said, you know what? I'm not a Trump supporter. He is bad. He is a threat to democracy. I'm going to do a podcast called Mea Culpa. I'm going to expose how bad Trump is. I'm going to testify in Trump's criminal cases because this guy's a fraud. This guy's a criminal. And we were like, yeah, Michael, get it. You get it. Michael, ooh. And he was like, I didn't even want to do all that bad stuff I did for Trump anyways. It was all not even in my character. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll believe that. Woohoo. And then all of a sudden, he parts ways with Midas Touch. He stops his resistance lib aesthetic and is having a strange transition right now. Everyone's trans these days. No, Donald, not that type of trans. And is kind of doing both sidesism and is talking about making good with Trump. And while I want you to speak your truth, Mike, I don't know what your truth is anymore because it keeps flip-flopping. And now he's posting things like, the left's digital lynch mob convicts first, investigates never, weaponizing lies, destroying reputations, and sacrificing truth while real victims wait endlessly for actual justice. You were the left mob with us. We were with you. Remember, you had the pitchfork and we were like, woo! And then you stabbed me with it. Mikey, how dare you? So I don't know what's going on with him. I really don't. I mean, he announced his new show on the John Katzimatidis. Oh my gosh, that one wasn't on purpose. Katzimatidis, who's a MAGA billionaire, friend of Trump's, called up the White House and said, is it okay if I give Michael Cohen a show on my radio station? And the White House said yes. Weird. After a previously undisclosed dinner that Michael Cohen had with Trump where they made nice. Why would you? He goes, well, we need to bridge the divides. I say, I agree with you. That actually doesn't include building a bridge with anyone. Oh my gosh, let me say it again. Oh, you need to hear it again. Building a bridge between our fractured country does not mean building a bridge to the island that's launching the missiles. Oh, shoot. That wasn't as profound as I wish that it was. I thought it was going to be better, but it flopped. But here's my point. Trump is the one burning all the bridges. So if you go, oh, maybe the way we overcome our division is by me and Trump being nice to each other. Wait. He's the one doing most of the bridge burning. Now, me and Scaramucci, me and whoever, and what's his face and what's her face, we could all unite. People who have a good faith approach to politics and actually want to uphold our democratic foundation while disagreeing on the particulars of policy, we can all unite. But the guy who's waging an assault against decency, who's fanning the flames of division like maybe no other president ever has, he's not the one that you dine with to bridge the divides, Michael. This is not a complicated concept. But he did have this dinner with him. And then he announced his new radio show on Trump's billionaire buddy's radio station.
My fellow Americans, if you think you know politics, think again. I'm Michael Cohen, and every week on When You Know, we're pulling back the curtain on power, politics, media, and the people making headlines.
I'm getting the sense that he has a little bit of an ego on him. I don't know, from the portraits of himself in this AI background, for example.
On my new WABC radio show, you'll hear conversations from names that you know. People like Jerry Falwell Jr., Anthony Scaramucci, Alan Dershowitz, and many, many more.
Who wants to talk to Alan Dershowitz? Epstein's former lawyer. Who wants to talk to that guy? Not me. I mean, I would, but I would grill him. Michael Cohen's going to be like, you're awesome.
More. Maybe, just maybe, we'll even hear from the president. No scripts, no spin, just real conversations with people who were in the room where it happened. And then on Tuesday...
Don't say that phrase, because then I have to go, in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened.
The conversation continues with When You Know, Unleashed. The podcast where there are no FCC rules, no limits, and no topic that's off the table.
Yeah.
Michael Rappaport is already joining me. And trust
I love Michael Rappaport. What if we did that? A show, the Luke Beasley Show, and then the next day we did a show, the Luke Beasley Show Unleashed, and it's like, wait, why aren't you unleashed? Wait, you're leashed there? I'm confused. So, yeah, okay. Should you criticize the left when they're wrong? Of course. Should you call out Democrats whenever they're wrong? Of course. But is the main concern, or even a concern that I have any interest in thinking about right now, the left's digital lynch mob? Do you know what that means? Mean comments. I love when people do this. You don't know what it's like to be at the receiving end of online harassment. And then I go look and they mean a bunch of people said mean things to them. Real harassment, which happens in this space, jumps over to real life. You're getting threatening calls, you're getting death threats, you're getting your family members doxxed. Maybe that happened to him, and I don't want that to happen to him, if that's what he's referencing. What I think he's referencing is that whenever he broke apart from Midas, after he wrote that thing like, Trump was prosecuted too hard, which is fine for it to be your stance. It just wasn't your stance 3 seconds before, but okay. Probably a lot of Midas people felt disillusioned with you and like, hey, what the heck? Feels like a little bit of a betrayal when you turn around and start saying things that contradict the things you were previously saying. Not because people go, you have to say what we want you to say, but because now a person that they thought they trusted, they can't trust anymore because you contradicted yourself. So don't come crying to me, Michael. He's texting me, he's calling me, saying, and I said, no, don't come crying to me. This is what I say. I say it right into it like this. I say, no, don't come crying to me, Renato. If you're watching this in a video form, you're not going to know that reference at all. But yeah, is that kind of weird? Like Trump's actually doing a convict first, investigate, never weaponize, destroy, sacrifice truth. Like that's Trump with power. So you can be upset that former fans of yours or people who think that you're grifting are calling you out, and maybe you don't feel that's fair. I haven't kept up with enough to say for certain if it's fair, but you're calling them out and making nice with Trump while still criticizing him here and there, for sure. When Trump's actually using the power of the government to go after people, are mean comments more consequential than the president of the United States calling for the death of his political enemies or literally launching criminal cases against his political enemies? The very thing that you said you had to speak out against the Democrats doing against him, he's now brazenly doing, which is way more evidentially back to be obvious weaponization to his enemies. Like, it feels off. Is that fair? I don't want it to seem like I'm saying you shouldn't call out mean people on the left. Sure, call out mean people on the left. The focus is strange to me. Or like he wrote a Substack article. He loves photos of himself. No, I don't want to be too mean. Mike, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mike. I don't want to be too mean. But he was talking about like how Trump is navigating, I guess, well, the Iran war. What? Wait, what?
Thank you very much.
The answer isn't another carefully worded diplomatic communique. It isn't another temporary agreement that Tehran violates before the signatures have time to dry. We've watched that movie for 4 decades and it never ending. It's a never ending. The ending never changes. There we go. Iran pockets the concessions, rebuilds its capabilities, funds its proxies, and waits for the next administration to start the cycle all over again. President Trump didn't create that cycle. He's trying to break it. Hey, is this written by Michael Cohen? Washington keep asking whether President Trump has dropped enough bombs. That's the wrong question. It's the flaw. Trump understands something that too many of the so-called foreign policy experts have spent decades refusing to acknowledge. What? No. Did you just say that Trump understands something about foreign policy that the foreign policy experts can't get their head around? Oh, you're losing me, Michael. You're really losing all of us. Not because we're going, don't say the truth that we can't, because we are deeply aware of the truth about this conflict, and it is not one that exhibits the brilliance of the foreign policy knowledge of Trump. Let me just say for sure. Kayla.
It's honestly, I know we always talk about like the hypocrisy of the right and it means nothing to them, but like, especially coming from Michael Cohen, who spent like all of this time working for an administration who was making fun of Joe Biden, who was sick, making fun of his son, who was an addict, going back as far as Obama calling his young daughters ghetto. Like, the name calling on that side has been so profound that the fact that they get like pissy about us being like, hey, your policies are bad, and they're just like, wow, so much for the tolerant left. I can't believe you're using this violence against us like that. It's insane.
Yeah, and you compare what they always do that's dishonest. They compare the statements. Why is your jawline so good? What the heck? That was crazy for a second there. Whoa. Mogging on all of us. That's insane. Okay, sorry. That was totally just
I'm mugging you right now.
Don't look at me. Kudos, really kudos to you. Thank your mother and your father. Really kudos. What was I saying? Yeah, people always compare the Trump statements to the statements of people with some social media followers. And that just is not a fair evaluation. Compare what Trump says to someone equally powerful in the Democratic Party. And then that makes you realize you can't find someone saying as divisive things as Trump has said who has power in office in the Democratic Party. Biden never said stuff like that. Kamala never said stuff like that, etc. You can't find violent language in the places of power where Democrats are compared to Trump, etc. And it feels like Michael's doing that as well. In the description for that Substack piece, he said, Iran mistook defiance for strength, underestimated Trump's resolve, and now faces an impossible choice. Negotiate from weakness today or endure increasingly devastating consequences tomorrow. Is that really your foreign policy? Playing chicken with Trump. Your foreign policy analysis, Michael? That Trump's resolve has been underestimated? I didn't want us to get into this war, but of course if we did, I'm an American. I'm an American, is what I meant to say. And I'm going, America, please do the best, whatever the best means. And so I say that, yeah, sure, right, woo, burgers, boobies, butts, America. Okay, stop it.
Be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens.
You don't have that song on your soundboard if you're not cheering for America. But, gosh, that's such a good song. I think the actual correct objective analysis is we underestimate the resolve of Iran. Really. Like militarily or economically, more so, the way they've been able to hold the Hormuz Strait, as Trump described it, or the Strait, hostage. I think that's what the Trump government underestimated. I hate to say it, but it's definitely not Trump's resolve. So I don't know exactly what Mike's doing there, but and I do resent the fact that he shares a name with my boo, because every time I say something to him, I like. It makes me think I'm talking to a different Michael, who would be so ashamed of you, Mr. Cohen. Here's a post that Cohen posted in promo for his radio show.
Something incredibly satisfying about being called every name in the book: traitor, fraud, Trump apologist, only to have reality walk in a few days later and prove that you were right. You see, here's the problem with politics today. Too many people, well, they treat it like they're rooting for their favorite team, the Yankees, the Mets, if you're a New Yorker. Their team, they're always right. And the other team, they're always evil. And facts, well, those become optional. Now, I said the other day that election integrity matters. And 2 days later, New Jersey admits that more than 6,600 voter registrations were botched because of a DMV software failure. And then just yesterday, I called Zoran Mandani's fantasy about arresting Bibi Netanyahu political theater. I called him a moron. And then Mandani admitted he didn't actually have the legal authority to even do it. You don't have to love Trump. I certainly don't agree with him on everything, but refusing to admit when he's right or when someone else is wrong, it's not honesty, it's tribalism. Reality doesn't care about your politics.
You know, this is so weird because the assertion, if you strip away all of its context and place it into a vacuum, the assertion itself of people have become too tribal. And if you can't ever acknowledge when someone on your side is wrong, you probably are blinded by a team sport mentality, is a correct assertion. But tell me why. Tell me why. I don't know any other words. That's the only lyric that I know. Okay. Tell me why every person who makes that assertion almost is always dishonest to themselves. Like, it's weird, because I am with that, again, in a vacuum. Now, the specific examples he listed were kind of bizarre. I think everyone knew when Mamdani was like, I would arrest Netanyahu if he ever came to New York, that there could be legal barriers to that, but it was more of like a we as the United States should arrest him because of the International Criminal Court warrant. It wasn't, maybe I'm forgetting exactly what Mamdani said. It wasn't like I know for certain I would be able to legally arrest him. And then I said we should care about election security and everyone called me a traitor. Why are you being dishonest? Because then I can't engage with the more sweet point, which is we should get along. Who says we shouldn't care about election security? Hey, Michael. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad right now. I just got so angry. Sometimes I get angry. Even Satan's hand can find itself up my anal cavity. Oh, as Tucker would say. But he does do that. He'll get upset and be like, I really regret getting so upset. I was like, that was 3 seconds ago. What do you mean? As I've reflected on my behavior, I'm really sad that I called them demons. So what I was angry about, but I've since calmed down with that Tucker Carlson impression, is that he is acting like he cares about election security and says that's one of the reasons we should admit when Trump is right, when the greatest threat to our election security is Trump. Michael, have you said that recently? You called Mamdani a moron. Would you call Trump a moron for trying to steal a democratic election? Because that's worse fraud than any random voter trying to vote for their dead relative. I can tell you that for sure. Because he got close to invalidating multiple states' electoral counts through a fraudulent scheme. That's a lot more. That impacts tens of millions of votes, not 3 people who registered their dog and then got caught. Okay? And then his example of how I'm actually now annoyed officially. I was annoyed, like fun annoyed. Now I'm like, Michael, I'm upset with you. Come on this show, or I'll come on your program when you know, or whatever it is. I'll come on if John Katzimatidis would let me. Maybe he won't. But let's see. You used to do the political beatdown show. Let's see if you can handle this. Okay? Got it? You got it? Okay? No, because really, he tries to pretend like it is leftists attacking him for saying he cares about election security, and then they got proven wrong because New Jersey admitted that there were 6,600 registrations that had a clerical issue with it. He didn't even say fraudulent votes. He said there was like a New Jersey admitted that they botched those registrations for some clerical reason. Michael, did you just New Jersey population 9.5 million people, and you were proven correct about what? Because 6,000 registrations had a problem with them? And it was caught like it should be? He didn't even say fraudulent registration, just like there was some problem in the computerized, documentation of them or whatever. What does that mean? Because when he says it and then he ends his statement by going, see, you got to admit when Trump is right. What is Trump right about? We should have secure elections? Everyone wants us to have secure elections. We just know that Trump is the only person who's ever tried, or the only person in all of our lives who's ever tried to actually steal an election. So why would we trust his statements on that, Michael? Oh my gosh. Here's a good example, too, about his whole we're going to get past the division by kissing Trump's butt thing. Imagine, again, the burning house metaphor. You walk up to a burning house, and there's an orange guy with big buckets of fuel, of gasoline and Vaseline for some reason, but the gasoline you're more concerned with, and he's dumping it onto the fire and it's blowing up, right? And then there's all these people standing there going, oh no, and they're splashing water on it. And then there's some people over here with little cups of fuel, and they're splashing little tiny cups of fuel, right? And if you looked around, would you go, oh, I need to go stand with the water people and try to put out the fire? And when the people with the little cups of fuel realize they should probably switch it out for a cup of water, I'm going to hug them and welcome them. But we also probably got to stop that guy with the big buckets of fuel. Then we can all stand in unison and kiss and make out and make love and pour water onto the fire. But the way that you reduce the division is not going and hugging the guy with the big bucket of fuel and being like, great job with the fuel. So again, that would be the fire as a metaphor for division. I feel like that illustrates my point well. But they always make you feel like you're the one who doesn't want to unite. I want to unite, just not with the person who's making us divided. Right? He can't say, you Democrats should die. Or I'm not going to give you disaster relief because you're a Democratic state. And then us go, we love you. Ha 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 ha. That's not how unity works. Oh no. I'm never going to admit anything that I don't know ever again. I'm not going to. You guys just get so rude. No, I'm kidding. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. Jared Frank said that gay card's about to be taken away again. It's already taken away. I downloaded straight dating apps by this point. I'm done. Between Dolly Parton and NSYNC. It's NSYNC, right? Tell me why. Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys. No! No! Oh no, the chat's gonna be crazy. That was so not swag of me. As Larry would say. Just James Music said, what? Oh, I don't have to read all these. What? I don't. Pete Driscoll said, Crime and Squaw, FNC, double time from The Office. Jim Flagg said, so is it true that Trump is going to call an emergency on voting to try to stop the votes? I don't know. I do not know. Who knows what he'll do? It's Me Sega said, so why is no one talking about Section 219, the merger of our military and supply chains with Israel? A lot of people are talking about it. I think it was only 4 Democrats. It's not merging the military, but like intelligence cooperation, I think, or intelligence sharing. And almost every Democrat's voting against it except for 4. And then some Republicans are voting against it. But it seems absolutely ludicrous, and especially who's writing this? Can we figure out who even wrote that bill? Was it someone? Because someone would have had to propose that legislation. Think about the moment that we're in, and people are seeing the Netanyahu Israeli government advocacy for a war that the vast majority of Americans do not want. And then you're a Republican, I'm assuming, thinking, this is a good time to further entrench the military connections and cooperation with the Israeli military. It's like, huh? Huh? Tell me why.
It was Ronnie Jackson who wrote it. It was formerly Section 224 and is now known as Section 219.
Wow. Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former doctor. Josh Johnston Music said, Luke, it's Jolene by Dolly Parton. You're a funny one. No, I think keep doing it because I think it's funny too. No, I'm with you guys. No, we're both on the same side laughing with each other. Excuse me. I almost puked. No, I'm kidding. And then you have a Dominator cosplay saying, wanna be in the room where it happens. With the dancey emoticons. Let's talk about this. I don't know if it'll be a full segment, but we need to ban AI-generated campaign ads. These are genuinely psychotic, and we now have information on how many, especially with love to our older viewers and older voters, older Republican voters were duped by this. So you know how Massey, can you pull up the Fight Gallerin, I think was his name. No one knows even who this guy was or is. He's a congressman starting in January probably. But Thomas Massey is the Republican who broke from Trump on the Iran war and on the Epstein files, and he lost his primary to this Trump-backed candidate, Ed Galrin. And one of the things that pushed voters away from Massey was an ad that AI generated Massey with Ilhan Omar and AOC and accused them of being in a throuple. Now, it was supposed to be a figurative throuple. Right? But they actually created imagery that makes it look like the three of them were together. And while a lot of us who are online frequently see this and go, that's obviously AI, especially older voters in Kentucky where this primary was, were convinced this was a real thing. And so I'll play the ad for you and then talk about that. Were you able to find it? You weren't able to find it? Dang it, no! Here's the ad and then we'll discuss.
Thomas Massey caught in a throuple in Washington. He's cheating with the squad on the America First movement. Massey voted with the squad against Trump's tax cuts. Massey voted with the squad against finishing Trump's wall. He voted with them against hiring new border agents. Well, this is worse than adultery. It's a complete and total betrayal of President Trump and Kentucky conservatives. On May 19th, fire Thomas Massey. MAGA Kentucky is responsible for the content of this advertising.
So, did you see that? If you see this image, podcast listeners, it looks like Thomas Massey is holding hands with Ilhan Omar and AOC from a security camera angle. This is not a real video, obviously. When we see that, we know that. Or him opening the SUV door for them, or him at dinner with them. It's obviously not them. It's AI generated. You know that. I know that. They don't know that. I don't know why, but they don't know that. And they don't. A lot of these voters in Kentucky, especially older, who voted for Ed Galrin. And apparently, according to some post-election exit polling, people were convinced older voters in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District admit to being tricked by AI-generated ads falsely depicting Thomas Massey in a throuple with AOC and Ilhan Omar, with the ads influencing their vote per exit poll. That's from Patrick Webb. Oh. This has to be banned now.
Not to sound like an extremist, I feel like in this climate and in this way, this feels like it should be at least a misdemeanor offense. I feel like you should have to go to court if you do something like this. That's so incredibly insane that it feels like if you had made that video as a parody 5 years ago of what people would use AI for, it would be like, oh, that's so ridiculous. No one would ever do that. And this was just like actually running on TV. Like that, you should have to face legal consequences for doing something like that. That's absolutely insane.
Absolutely. There's so many laws around campaign finance and when you're allowed to speak from an official office about a campaign matter, and all these, the president has to remove the presidential seal from their ads so that it's not using the office because of the Hatch Act. But then this hasn't already been banned, where you can convince some section of the electorate that is less online or aware of AI that something happened that didn't. I saw in one of these articles about this topic that a large percentage of voters don't even know what a deep fake is. So it's not even like that was AI, shoot. It's like they literally don't even know that's a thing that exists yet. Isn't that fun? Are you having fun? Are you having fun? This is where we are. Who? Show them to me. Let me talk to them. It's very scary. The gap in awareness about what faces us. So then you think about all these issues we have to deal with. Can you pull up? You said you found it? Let's pull up. And people were convinced by some of these things to vote for Ed Galrin.
President, we stand with you. Fight, fight, fight!
Yeah!
USA!
Pause it. That somehow is not AI. Fight, is somehow not AI. That should be a law. Can we ban that? Here's what I mean. If you're in a campaign speech, your voice can only go up 2 octaves in between 2 consecutive words. Okay? So if you want to get that high, you have to go fight. Right? You have to, but not fight.
Mr. President, we stand with you. Fight.
Right. That's just not allowed. It's public indecency to my ears. So, boom, we solved it. 2 things. 1, you ban, I think, any AI, how do we even say? How could you write this law? Any use of AI images or misleading photoshopping as a part of campaign content. Because you don't have to convince the discussion on. Everyone saw that ad and went, that's weird. Who's going to even believe? And then they're going to start having. You remember that video they played over and over of Kamala Harris saying, yes, transgender surgeries for prisoners. And like she said it in 2019. And then when she was asked about it by Brett Baer, that's his name, remembered it from earlier in the show. She said, I'm not changing anything. I'm not doing anything differently. I'm just going to keep the law exactly how it is. I don't know. Right? She really clarified that's not even a thing that I'm. But still was the most consequential ad in the election based on different surveys. Fun. Again, so much fun where people make the decision on who president should be. A 2019 clip talking about transgender prisoners. How could anywhere on your list of most important concerns be what healthcare is provided to inmates who happen to be transgender, which is like what percentage of the population? 0.001? That's what people are voting. You vote for Iran war. You vote for a worse economy. You vote for most corrupt. What the heck?
Where'd you get that?
This is an all-new photograph we took before we start today's show of me here. Vote Beasley for president. I don't like the way that this is making me feel. Can you take it down?
Jaden, we sent you that in confidence.
See, you see that and say that's not real, even though you're like, that's probably pretty close. I see that. I know it's not real. But you put that in an ad in Kentucky, and it's nothing against people in Kentucky. I'm just saying, just since we're talking about Massey, it could be any state. And some percentage in any state of people will believe that it's real. It's real. Which again, with me, people are like, he probably does a lot of push-ups. So maybe it's more believable. But Massey and a throuple with AOC and Ilhan Omar, less believable. Less believable. So it's just such a bummer. We got to ban it. Ban it. Germs Rosalino said, hey, Luke, did you know Dolly Parton also made Baby One More Time? I'm not playing this game. Jared Frank said, Ed Galrin. I don't know what that. Oh, Ed Galrin. Tell me why. Jim Flagg said Mitch picture was AI. Maybe it was, honestly. Very strange. So many new texts coming in here, and it's all very exciting. Oh, that was just my pickleball scheduling. I had to check in with my pickleball schedule for this evening to know if I should start doing my warm-ups right now or not, but it looks like it got canceled. So that is thank you. Thank you for that reaction. Stephen A. Smith confronted Tucker Carlson on his flip, which is specifically about how Tucker Carlson, it's not just now he's talking badly about Trump, which I love to see. It's been very enjoyable to watch such a prominent right-wing figure turn against Trump. Love it, get it, girl. But what is more confusing is that he only now is speaking out against Trump. And it's not about doing the thing where you never let somebody admit they were wrong. It's about just go and let the cough out. Just let it out. Let it out, Cole. Come on. You're holding it in. You look about to die. You're good. Have fun. So, so the thing that I have an issue with is that Tucker demonstrated himself to be two-faced. And so I want him to give an honest answer on that because I haven't. And if he's trying to coin himself as newly super honest, then he should contend with, just like Marjorie Greene and some of these other folks, their horrible dishonesty throughout much of their career. And so this relates to Tucker Carlson in 2020 text saying he hated Trump with a passion. And before I show you Stephen A. Smith bringing this up, here were the texts. Tucker said, "We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait." And then a Fox employee said, "I want nothing more. It does feel very close. I imagine things will get nice starting around mid-February." And Tucker said in 2021, said, "I hate him passionately. I blew up at Peter Navarro today in frustration. I actually like Peter, but I can't handle much more of this. I hate him passionately," among many other very derogatory texts. Again, true. And he was making fun of the election lies behind the scenes and then perpetuating them publicly. And it was well after he sent that text that he was doing his daddy bit in favor of Trump during the 2024 campaign. So just let me remind you of this, because then he's going to be asked, and I don't feel like his answer as to why he was saying something privately and something different publicly was honest.
If you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table, if you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're going to get more of it. And those kids are going to wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which dad comes home.
Oh yeah, I remember this lady right here. Oh yeah, she inspired me. I use her now as my new barometer for how much I love a political leader. I'm just looking for, and I think Ossoff's doing it for me, I'm looking for a political leader who will make me cheer as passionately as she cheered for Tucker Carlson saying Trump is daddy who's gonna come home. Okay. Really, look, it's that noise right here. Or play that again right when I click play on this. Yeah, that's what that is right there. She's like, yes, dad comes home, Tucker, and Trump is daddy.
Dad comes home. And he's pissed. Dad is pissed. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. Because they're his children, they live in his house. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's going to have to let them know. He's going to have to get to your room right now and think about what you did. And when dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not going to lie. This is going to hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this. You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl.
Yeah, again, this was his analogy to Trump. This was him comparing the United States to, or the deep state maybe, to your bad teenager or child. Wait a minute. There has to be a point. Wait. I never connected these dots. How old does he say this girl is?
If you allow your 14-year-old to...
14-year-old? You spank your 14-year-old girl? Vigorously? You creep? Ugh. Anyway, so in this analogy, the United States is a 14-year-old girl who has to be vigorously spanked by their dad, who is Trump. That's what the thing was. Don't get mad at me. That's what Tucker was saying about Trump. After he said he hated Trump with a passion, he was out campaigning for Trump passionately. So, what say you about this?
I don't see, and no one I know, including people who work at the White House and at the Pentagon, if you ask that question, how do we get out of this? They have no idea. So I'm really worried about it. I know I'm hated and called a Nazi for being against it, but it's bad enough.
Wait, that's not the part. This was a little bit before the part I was playing, but you're not. We're all against the Iran war, Tucker. Gosh, it must feel so cool to portray yourself as that much of a victim. I'm with you on being against the Iran war. But the way he goes, and people call me a Nazi for it. Oh, Nazi, okay. Like, what? I love Hitler. Oh my God. I was like, what? I never get called a Nazi, and I'm against the Iran war.
That it's worth it to say it, I think.
Tucker Carlson, in 2021, you probably wrote that you hated Trump passionately. You later supported him in 2024. So here's the question. Why should listeners see this latest break as principle rather than another pivot on your side, on your part? How do you answer that?
Well, I've had many pivots, and I've already explained two of them. I was wrong.
Yes, you have.
Because I'm wrong a lot, I guess. I mean, I flatter myself and say I'm not wrong a lot, but I certainly am wrong sometimes, and wrong on big things. I was wrong on Trump, and I was wrong on the Iraq war, and I'm sure a million other things. But anyway, I mean, I don't know what to say. People can judge whether I'm sincere or not. I don't really know what I'm getting out of this, actually. I've gotten really...
like the biggest podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, but okay.
Nothing out of any of it. And I'm not going to whine and say I've lost a lot, but some, including friendships. So I don't really know what my motive would be, but if I can't convince people, I can't. But I'm just telling you, I happened to be there and pretty close and saw a lot of stuff that is like so bad for this country. It's such a total betrayal. Now, I would just say quickly that, yeah, I got mad at Trump in a private text message, which Fox stole from me and sent to the New York Times. Like, that's a whole nother story, kind of crazy. But I wrote that to one of my producers because Trump had made me mad in 2001, right after the election. Okay.
21, sir. Thank you.
I get, I've been mad at people I love. But I decided that Trump was the option to the Republican leadership and the Democratic leadership. He wasn't a Republican. He was a challenge to the Republicans.
Why?
He came from outside the system. This was how I thought of it.
Why?
And as they tried to put him in jail and shoot him and all this stuff, I was like, see, it's totally real. It's not a fake thing. I mean, they're trying to put him in jail. That's what I thought, and I still kind of think that. But someone...
This is so stupid. So... listen, I get things wrong sometimes, like about the Iraq war and about Trump. Oh, so Trump being the political issue over the last decade, and the Iraq war, which is the political issue about the decade that preceded that. Okay, so what are we listening to you about? And I saw this interview with him recently where he said, yeah, I end up being duped into lying for the Iraq war. And I didn't mean to, but I did. Which is not what a lie is. A lie is necessarily that you're saying something incorrect and you know it's incorrect. If you don't know it's incorrect, it's not a lie. It's just being ignorant about something. But he called it a lie. He's like, and now I'm really trying not to lie. Oh my gosh, Mike Farmer's tan. I promise it's going to go away. Look, my other one's less bad. It's this one. Ah! He has a gnarly Farmer's tan. Same. So, but this is because I was out chopping. Oh, I already told him it was a restaurant. Shoot. I try not to lie. No, it was chopping logs, actually. I'm getting ready early for the winter. So I'm chopping logs. Chopping big, massive logs out in the backyard with my shirt off and my dogs running and my horses neighing and my cows mooing.
I love cows.
Right. So, no, I don't like... Stop. I don't like this thing people are doing. If the entire political project that you were a part of for the last decade you realized was a lie, I need a little bit more from you. I need a little more introspection. Does he say now we should have voted for Kamala? No. Does he still lie about what the Democrats even run on? Yes. So how am I supposed to trust your analysis? I'm not, obviously. Obviously, as he would say. Not to mention he still has utterly whacked analysis on all sorts of different issues. He likes to say in interviews, I just think that, frankly, the powers that be have distracted us with these culture war debates, trains, and so that we won't focus on the fact that investments are taxed higher than labor. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we've been saying for the last decade, Tucker. But he doesn't say that. He goes, and no one's even talking about it. No one's even talking about how the capital gains tax is higher than people get taxed on their actual work. Or it's lower, excuse me. Did I say that wrong? I meant to say investment tax lower than labor. If I said that wrong, sorry. And you're like, yeah. And then he goes, and it's like the income inequality is out of control. Nobody's talking about that. They're just talking about trans sports. No, we were talking about that. What? You can't. What? You just erased all of our advocacy for the last decade. We've been like, Trump's scaring you with immigrants and trans people and drag queens and gay people so that you won't focus on how we're getting screwed over economically. If we had a more economically progressive policy agenda, we could improve everyone's lives without dividing over these cultural issues. That's what I've been shouting from the rooftops, MFR. And you were doing the culture warring. You were telling people the woke mob is coming for Dr. Seuss whenever the Dr. Seuss enterprise or whatever it's called just voluntarily chose, without any public pressure that I could find, to remove certain books because they had racist imagery in them because Dr. Seuss was from back then, so he was racist as heck. But he had a fun cat in the hat, so who cares, right? But my point is, you were like, oh, the woke mob is destroying America, while actually what Biden was doing was like sort of uncontroversial infrastructure projects, but you didn't talk about that. You talked about Dr. freaking Seuss. So you got to do a little more than, oh, it's wrong about Trump. You weren't just wrong, but you got us here. Didn't know if I was going to say buddy or brother there. Sorry, I merged them. Brother! I need more. Marjorie, I need more. I saw Marjorie doing an interview with Chris Cuomo. And Chris Cuomo said, hey, have you had any introspection about your previous conspiracy theories? She was like, nah, the fake news just said I was a conspiracy theorist, but I never alluded to the idea that school shootings were staged. And then we go play the clip on the show, in the segment. You can find it where we see her say that these clearly try to get her audience to believe that these school shootings were staged. She goes, I never believed in QAnon. See a clip of her going, Q is a patriot. You have to be honest before I'll perceive you as honest. Crazy demand, huh? It's different than like, yeah, maybe I should have said Biden shouldn't be the nominee with my chest. Like, that's one of my things is I go, well, that whole 2024 election thing was a debacle. I wish I had seen it coming and pushed for something different. But that's like a strategic misjudgment I made based on the absolute correct political principle, which was this party's really flawed but does a lot better things than this horrendous anti-democratic movement. Let's try to make sure this party gets elected and not that one. Based on an honest assessment of both parties' policy records. Correct framework, misjudged a strategic choice. His is the entire political framework he was operating with and still whips out from time to time whenever he talks about maybe the reason that the powers that be, not Russia, not ever Russia, but the powers that be want the Ukraine war to keep going, not because Russia keeps going, but because Ukraine wants it to keep going so that they can do genocide against their own white civilians. Because everything's like a conspiracy against white people. He still whips it out. Stop whipping it out, Tucker, you pervert.
Along the line, after that Butler shooting in Pennsylvania in July of 2024, he changed like 180 degrees and started doing things that he ran against doing. And so, like, you tell me what that is. I don't know. I don't think Trump's a great actor. I don't think he was lying before. I think something changed him.
Something changed.
His point, okay, whatever. You know, the June 2024 shooting, let's see, was before November 2024. So if he changed right after that, right? Do my math. If he changed after that shooting, why did you still campaign for him after it? Well, because they were trying to put. Okay, let me ask you a very simple question. If it's the case that Trump has lied, as Tucker admits, about almost all of his big agenda items, right? Tucker says he's betraying his voters. True. He said we're going to stay out of foreign wars. He got his hand on them. He said he's going to reduce prices. He's increasing them. He says he's going to fight for the working man. He's actually screwing over the working man in the favor of the wealthy. If he would lie about like everything that he stood for, what if he lied about being a criminal? What if when he said he was completely innocent, he actually was a criminal? Is that such a stretch? Is it such a stretch that Trump would lie about his entire political project and then, as you say, engage in the biggest political betrayal in history by getting into the Iran war? What if he actually is a criminal that should have been prosecuted?
I'm not a pedophile.
What if he is a pedophile? I'm saying what if, I'm asking.
I love minors.
His words, not mine. Some people think he's talking about coal miners, but some people think it's a different type. You know what I mean? Both him and Marjorie do the same thing where they refuse to change any of their previous stances, adjusting for their new characterization of Trump. But what if Trump, who might be the Antichrist, quote unquote, could this be the Antichrist? Tucker says. What if someone who could be the Antichrist, as you said after, even though you denied it later, would also be a criminal? Is there any chance? Is there any chance that he maybe actually did lie, like you admitted in text messages about the election and then tried to steal an election, which he should have been prosecuted for? But no, they don't ever go correct any of those stances, which drives me a little bit batty. But not as batty as whenever a student brought up these texts and then brought up how maybe Tucker's a little more out of touch than he lets on.
I don't understand it because it makes no sense. Like, you're worth $50 million.
I'm not worth $50 million.
30 to 50.
Get off the fucking internet, son. Don't stop believing that stuff. $50 million?
Go back to cable news.
Sorry.
No, but I'm just, look.
Okay, you're too annoying. So I like the last chick who like disagreed with me, and then we could have like a normal conversation.
All right.
But you're like telling me you're worth $50 million. What? Stop.
Okay, you got real defensive there. I just threw out a number that's like a lot of money. Jesus Christ, calm down.
Don't use that phrase.
You're worth.
We're done.
Well, look.
No, just stop.
Can I say one?
No, you can't. Not after you say that. Leave.
All right.
No, I will not stand. Those wokesters, they're so sensitive. It's like, don't say this, don't say this. I will not allow you to speak if you say such thing. I love when they do that. Oh, it's like leftists are such word Nazis. Like, oh, I have to say they, them. Oh my gosh, they're like so. And then Tucker goes, you can't talk anymore. You said Jesus Christ. I dare you. Right after he said, get it, effing, I hate this effing kid. Isn't it also in the Bible? I know that Lord's name in vain is a bigger deal than just having a naughty mouth, but there's also scripture about being dirty with your mouth, and Tucker was being dirty with his mouth. But I love that he gets offended about the bringing up how wealthy he is. Again, you can advocate for the correct policies and be wealthy, but Tucker Carlson annual, I have all caps on, that's awesome. Annual salary when at Fox News. Let me just, we've gone through this before. Yeah, approximately $15 to $20 million a year. If you're not worth $40 million right now, you're dumb. If you're getting paid $20 million a year, what are you spending all that on? Like a bunch of Band-Aids every time your back gets scratched by a demon, I guess. How long was he, please hold. How long was Tucker Carlson a primetime host on Fox News? Let's just see. He was 6 years. So you make $20 million a year for 6 years and you don't have $40 million sitting around? Strange. Oh, and aren't you also married to the heir of the Swanson, whatever the heck?
He's the heir of the Swanson dynasty.
I think it's his wife.
His mother.
Oh, it's him?
Yeah, it's him.
What?
The
Swanson
I'm pretty sure it's
frozen
him.
foods dynasty.
Via his mommy, I believe.
So you can quit it with that, Tucker. You can quit it with that. So point is, I'm glad to see people breaking away, but honesty is the only policy. What else do we have? We are barbarians without honesty. Our enemies choose dishonesty. It is a very Western concept. Honesty. That's how Tucker talks. He's like... the most critical thing in life is your sex life. You have nothing without your sex life. This is true. Eastern cultures don't acknowledge this, but the West understands this. But truly, all we have is honesty if we're going to judge the credibility of different commentators. Keaton says, as much as I hate AI stuff, every time I see the fat JD stuff, I do giggle. I feel like the only thing that's preventing me from banning AI is the JD Vance memes. Really? I'm with you. It's like
What the hell happened to JD?
It really is. It really is fun. Do we have to? Let's do it. Should we do it? Do we have something at 2:30? Did you tell me you have something? You can reschedule? You did reschedule already? Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about this. According to the Daily Beast's Michael Wolff, Trump and the Trump White House is terrified that Melania will go rogue. What? Go rogue? And I'm going to take you on a little journey to explain what I mean by that. But before I do, I know we talk about Michael Wolff a good bit because he apparently has a lot of sources in the White House and has written some interesting books about Trump and in all honesty, creates some fascinating stories like this one about what's going on in the Trump White House in relation to Melania. But Kayla and I were talking, and I just want to say, Michael Wolff, you're not off the hook. I'm very skeptical of you. I am. Ever since those emails where you're like, hey, Jeffy, hey, Jeffy, when you going to be in New York next time? Hey, maybe you could word this story that way, or whatever the emails were. You were just a little bit too chummy with Jeffrey Epstein. I know you were reporting on him and you were trying to get information out of him, but I want him to explain. I haven't heard Michael Wolff explain that. So I just want to say that as a caveat because the whole source for this story is Michael Wolff, and he's still on my nerves, even though I do appreciate some of what gets revealed. Let's see. First Lady Melania Trump's the one force neither the president nor his staff can control. Ooh. In a new column for a Substack, Wolff wrote that White House staffers are terrified of Melania's unpredictability, especially after her Jeffrey Epstein bombshell address, in which she denied having any sort of relationship with him. Everybody in the White House is afraid of Melania Trump and her power. That is, if she chooses to use it. What does he mean? Let's listen more.
Particularly elegant, so I always like to know what she's wearing when she shows up. What is she doing? What does she do with all her time?
Absolutely fair to say the strangest marriage in the history of all presidential marriages. I just did this Substack piece on this. The wild card, they don't know what she's going to do, and they are afraid of it. Even more disturbing to the White House is that this business of hers seems to make her the center of attention, which puts her kind of in direct conflict with the President of the United States, who, as we know, can't stand anyone else being the center of attention. Doesn't mind you making money, but do not steal the limelight.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure there will be people listening to this thinking, wait a minute, FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt had a pretty odd relationship. And I've got something I want to read in a minute. But I think what's very clear, and they obviously did have a different sort of relationship, but Eleanor Roosevelt clearly loved being First Lady. She was great at being First Lady. And what's so interesting about Melania is she doesn't appear to enjoy anything to do with being First Lady. I mean, she looks like she's forced to turn out, and she looks utterly miserable when she's there. And for someone who was a model and used to being in front of the camera, she's remarkably reticent.
I mean, I think it's also a different thing. I mean, all marriages have their issues. All marriages have their problems.
Yeah. It's like, I have a lot more to play, but it's like, all marriages, at some point in every marriage, you find yourself in the front of a courthouse and your wife doesn't show up there to support you because the charges that you're facing inside that court relate to you paying off a porn star during a political campaign who spanked you with a magazine with your face off on it while she was home with a newborn. It's like all marriages face their challenges. Like all marriages, you have to come out and surprise the president with a speech denouncing a convicted sex offender and former best friend of your husband and declare that you weren't introduced by that sex trafficker to said husband who's been accused by a lot of those victims of misconduct. Like there's just times in marriages where things like that happen. No, of course not. That's very uniquely Donald and Melania.
A different thing. I mean, all marriages have their issues. All marriages have their problems. All marriages are dissimilar in the various ways they are dissimilar. But but this isn't a marriage. I mean, they just don't live together.
Mm-hmm.
They, I mean, Eleanor Roosevelt and Franklin Roosevelt was having an affair. All of them. I mean, many presidents seem to have had.
Why am I learning about all these new presidential details recently? FDR was having an affair? FDR? That FDR? Real? With who? With who? A guy? Was it a guy? Yeah! I mean, oh, dang it for Eleanor. But really? With a guy? No,
There's been whispers.
Kayla's gay casting, which is when you wish casts for gay. Because I do the same thing with Abe Lincoln.
His bed warmer.
I don't know what that means, but yeah,
Bed warmer.
Yeah.
Male.
Male bed warmer. Someone, man. Just because I think that it would be really helpful for the brand, for the Pride brand, if Lincoln were like our logo. You know what I mean? But again, we don't want it in the context of cheating. But maybe Lincoln, who was Lincoln's wife? Miss Lincoln, Mary Lincoln, maybe, or something. If she would give us permission to sell it, maybe she gave him permission, the president, we got to keep it under wraps, but like, I know this helps you sort of let off steam in a way that I can't with you. And so that would be kind of cool. Or like Washington with his wooden teeth. Just like, what was he doing when he took those wooden teeth out? You know what I mean? It would kind of be a fun chapter in the advocacy of LGBTQ folks. But anyways, I didn't know about FDR. Apparently Kayla thinks it was guy. That'd be cool. It'd be fun. Different. Bad for the cheating, but good for the gay.
It was actually with someone named Lucy Mercer, who was hired to be Eleanor Roosevelt's social secretary.
Oh, social secretary. What did they like? Social media? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, social things, socializing. So it was someone named Lucy. Okay, maybe the real name was Luciano. But then, Renato. FDR, Franklin. Did you have sexual relations with this man? I did. I will neither confirm nor deny. What is the name of this man in this painting? His name is Renato. Okay, what, Michael?
have had affairs, but as many marriages. But but there is that moment. Are you together or are you not together? This is at some level.
So this is not really getting at the part that I could just read these quotes, I guess, because it kind of gets at it more. Everyone in the White House is afraid of Melania. They largely think she won't go rogue, or at least won't use it so obviously enough to directly threaten the palace. But they can't be sure. At the same time, they think that the relationship between the president and his wife is probably at its lowest point since the Stormy Daniels trial, and that was very, very low. Apparently they barely speak. There's hardly even the pretense that she lives in the White House. And so ever since she scarred them with an unannounced emergency press conference to say that she was not involved. She didn't say Donald wasn't involved, but she said, I was not involved with Jeffrey Epstein. That now they're worried that she could go rogue at some point again like that, because that created some rough headlines for the Trump administration.
No appearances during the 2024 campaign until basically she did an appearance in the last week of the campaign. He was indicted 4 times, myriad court appearances, never once appearing with him. And that was always in my book about the campaign. I recount one aide going to her and trying to ask her as politely and nicely, gently as possible if she would come to court with him, and she just broke up in laughter and said, "Nice try."
She broke up in laughter.
In laughter.
In laughter. Nice try.
I thought they were doing a thing back and forth. Laughter, 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 laughter. But no, she was setting up a Melania impersonation.
Broke up in laughter and said, "Nice try."
She broke up in laughter?
in laughter.
In laughter. Nice try. Nice try, Donald. I'm not coming to court. I won't be in court, except divorce court. Okay, well, the appearances she's done this year, there's so few.
Ooh, that was good. That was really good. That was a great impersonation.
Booyah, Navy!
Much better than Trump's impersonation of Melania. Ooh, I would not be there. That's how he does it. So yeah, I understand that fear. Think about if imagine yourself being the president of the United States. Okay, boom, that's easy. Then imagine yourself formerly being best friends with a sex trafficker. Okay, that's more difficult. Then imagine yourself being in a marriage with somebody and you don't enjoy them at all, or you might, but they don't enjoy you. Okay, I can't imagine that. And then imagine yourself sitting in the Oval Office and turning on the TV, and without telling you, that spouse of yours went in front of the American public and defended herself, but not you, against allegations that she was more involved with the sex trafficker than previously known. You're gonna be terrified constantly after that she's gonna get an urge to come out and say, and also, I'm not a fan of the tariff policy or something like that. And I think that's what they're panicked about ever since her Epstein press conference. Alrighty, that is it for us today. All good over there. Check, check, check. Beautiful, beautiful. Here is Benny Johnson listening to the show very intently. He thinks he has the Ossoff aura, or swag, as Larry Kudlow would say, or Riz, as Larry Kudlow would say, but he doesn't. He's missing the it factor. All right, that's it. We appreciate all of you. Much love. Talk to you next time.